Greetings and welcome to another exciting edition of Poet the Poet. I'm Robert Dunn, and they still haven't allowed me to come back to New York yet, so I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, and that has its advantages. One of them is I get to introduce today's guest, who is Howard Prescott, and one of our early centerpiece poets in our magazine, Medicinal Purposes. Get a good shot of this because I want people to send us loads of money for it, and we're very proud of it. And we were very lucky to get Howard. As a matter of fact, as a centerpiece, what happened was he sent in a bunch of poems and just more than that. All right, he sent in 6, almost a baker's half dozen, and just blew the editorial staff out of the water. Which is something that they need every once in a while. And, well, someday you'll meet more of the staff. But in any event, we decided to make a centerpiece out of him, and it proved to be a very popular issue. So he's here now in the flesh. We're very glad to have him.
Nice to be here.
Yes, before I bring you on, I just want to thank Nancy Summers for letting us come into this gorgeous facility here, the Lincolnia Center in Alexandria, Virginia, and we're filming a bunch of shows, of which Howard gets one as a centerpiece, and also as a fine poet. So let's get into that. You grew up in New England.
Yes.
Went to West Point.
Yes.
Yeah. How far did you get?
Well, I actually graduated.
And then they made you.
Well, then I did a lot of spooky dooky things for a while.
Oh, were you an officer?
Oh, yes.
All right, we'll let it go at that. Did North Carolina State College in Raleigh also make you an officer? Or did they make you an offer?
They did both.
Uh-huh.
I was a resident there.
Yeah.
And I could go to school there under the GI Bill, and I took advantage of that.
What did you study?
Electrical and nuclear engineering.
And then you started traveling.
Yeah. I went to Europe and in the service before that, and I did international consulting around the world for about 25 years. Did a lot of sailing associated with that, which reflects strongly in my poetry, being from Newport, Rhode Island.
I see, and then you retired to do sailing for yourself.
Yes.
From the Florida Keys to the Canadian Maritimes.
Yes, that's correct. I sailed there in my own boat.
But
I sailed all over the world and rented ones. I didn't lug my boat around. It was too big.
Did you ever run into Jimmy Buffett?
No.
On the high seas?
No. I wish I had.
That would have been you could swap a few stories, I think. But we can swap a few, and I'd like to have a poem.
All right. I think I'll start with my first love affair. More a lover of poems than words, a poet posed for glory. I beat and burnished lines into lovely shapes and sounds, brimming with mirrored reflections. Hammered and honed phrases form sharply etched images. Poetry remains my first love affair, untarnished, forever fresh and free. Did you think I was going to say something else?
No, but I was going to ask if poetry seduced you, or did you seduce poetry?
I think it was mutual.
That's a spirit.
I think it was mutual.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
What else have you got there?
Well, in a different tone, this is called A Nail for a Cross. I asked her where she wanted me to hammer a nail in the wall. Anywhere, she said, waving only vaguely in my direction before she left the bedroom. When she saw her mother's crucifix mounted on a nail, she said nothing, but a harsh line sealed her lips. That night, she ate and slept alone. I knew our love affair was over. The next day she packed and left, taking the crucifix with her. The love I once could hold tight disappeared without a goodbye. The gaping nail hole remained.
I guess you can't win them all, can you?
No, you can't win them all.
Do you write many love-oriented poems?
Yes, I do. I write about love and our significance here on Earth. And every once in a while I take a flyer. That's a metaphor for life in a way. And that's what this next one is.
Yeah, we hand out flyers all the time.
Yes, well, this is quite a flyer.
All right.
It's called Hell's Angels.
Ah.
The motorcycles roared with ear-splitting strength, like lions in the African afternoon, waiting for the plains of the Serengeti to be fed by the pride's lionesses, prowling, stalking prey, picking a prize for the kill. Then, no matter what, the lions ate their fill, first the leader, then his council, then the rest of the pride. Hyenas always waited around, as did packs of jackals, but they got no scraps until the members of the pride were finished. Wherever Hell's Angels stopped for beer or gas, they were the lions of the open road. They took theirs first, all others waited until they were sated. Fear oozed in, almost tangible. Frightened patrons departed. Cautious customers stayed away. The pack came swift and sudden, rushing in like Attila the Hun, roaring like Patton's Third Army, enthralled by their power, independence, daring, disregard. I imagined myself a member, in fact their leader, fearing nothing, not cops, not laws, not others. I dreamed the pack rode at my command. My bite was long, lean, and black, cool and clean as death. A scimitar that swoops and swirls among the powerless prey. The pack's women were magnificent to see, dressed in black leather, shining, smooth, boots, long hair, tank tops, and bare skin, holding tight and strong to bike and man, wild, free, a breed unto themselves. My lady wore close to part of me, two sexy skins as true as tomorrow, hers and the black leather, sleek and fine, arms adorned with spiky wristbands, links, and chains to keys and money stashes. She fit close to me, as tight as a shadow, tuned to the engine whine and the whiplash wind, unafraid at any speed, ready for any ordeal. She was my woman, ready for any destination, any adventure, any sacrifice, no matter what. As I looked at the arriving Hell's Angels, dressed in leather, black like death, they were astride big engine Harleys, customized, overchromed, chopped and slanted, like some spirit of speed and danger, a metallic Mercury, eager for its mission, hard to tame, a friend forever. They partied. No one dared interfere. Not cops, not owners, not others. Hell's Angels are the true lions of the road. They are the soaring eagles of the highways. First to the kill, no one else eats until they are done. Their faces show pride, power, and a passion for a way of life too dear for most. They are the cobras of our day, hunted and killed without reason. They will stand as long as men want freedom. They will ride to their dying destiny, to the last can of beer, to the last ounce of gas, to the last brawl, to the last party, to the last damned man.
Woof.
A little different.
Yes, certainly.
I went down to Florida a few years ago, and on the way back, we happened to hit Daytona Beach the week before
Yeah.
the big bike show starts down there in the racing. And I was there for part of that, and then when they threw us out because there was no room, and as I was driving north, there were rivers of these guys still going down there. Grandfathers with kids, girls in the back of trucks, campers, 3 generations, tops on bikes, crooks on bikes, everything.
I tried to join, but they didn't care for my need for training wheels on the machine.
Understood.
Did you get any feedback from the Hells Angels about this? Have any of them actually heard the poem?
I sent it to Harley Dickinson, and no one will touch it because these guys are not well thought of by the manufacturers of motorcycles. Most of them.
Yes, I'd heard that.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's true.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Also, with reference to something else, we'll get a lioness to feed you a little later.
Okay.
But I hope you're a good tipper because they don't like to get stiffed.
Okay.
All right. Before we take a brief break, I would like to get another little poem.
Okay. Let's try this one. It's called Her Husband's Return. We were talking on the phone about a new poetry magazine and whether it would snow when she said she had just gotten her husband back from a long business trip. The change in her voice told me that his return meant more to her than she allowed herself to say. I wonder if he knows her feelings after all their years together. A special flame fires her heart, warming the passing of her days.
And then he rode off on his motorcycle.
No, not this one.
Well, that's a relief. All right, we'll be back in a moment with more Howard Prescott, so don't go away. We are lucky to be back with more of Howard Prescott and his poetry and something else of tremendous interest. Now, earlier I was waving around our magazine, medicinal purposes. We have a poetry contest of our own, but in addition to that, Howard and his family, the Prescott family, have sponsored a second contest for us that we're very excited about. It's dedicated to the memory of Marilyn K. Prescott.
Yes.
Who was she?
She was my wife, and she passed away many years ago. And somebody presented an opportunity to write about people that were gone and remembered. And after I entered that contest and was published in it along with many others, I decided to do a separate one on an annual basis for my wife. And this will be, we are now doing the second annual Marilyn Prescott Memorial Contest through Robert Dunn and Tom Catterson. And it'll be continued in perpetuity. It was very successful the first year, and I think everyone was pleased with it, including family.
We had a tremendous array of contestants and poems for that contest. There was a theme for the first one, memorials of all sorts. The first contest was won by Edmund Pennant, who has appeared on this program before. If you have never run into Edmund Pennant, there are a few poets who are classier, or more elegant, or more skilled. And as far as I could see, I saw the finalists, and he just ran away with the contest as far as I could see, and the check cleared. We're very pleased about that too. The second annual Marilyn K. Prescott contest has no particular theme. Just send us your best poem. Actually, contact us for guidelines first. That would be very helpful. And if you want to see the first winning poem, now is the time to subscribe. You didn't enter your own contest, did you?
No member of the Prescott family has anything to do with the judging or It's done completely by your magazine.
Yes, we do it in-house. It's Thomas Catterson has a tough job with that one because of the quality of the work. There were a lot of serious contenders, and we expect very many more serious contenders in the future. So do your best with this contest. It is worth it. Anyway.
Before I start again, I'd like to express my thanks to the entire magazine for their effort on my behalf and the family's behalf.
Oh, it's a great pleasure. I mean, the poetry that you've been giving us just makes us look that much better.
Good.
Anyway, before we go on to some more, you have some books coming up.
Yes, there's a new press out called the Founders Hill Press, and they should be 3 books of poetry, one on love poems, one about sea stories, and a third of about a couple hundred collected works. And we hope that they'll be out by Christmas in the major stores.
And eventually there'll be a 4th, I imagine, Love at Sea.
Probably.
Most people who are in love are at sea.
Yeah.
I would say. All right. Do you have any samples from the books that you might present?
Yes, I do. This is one. Thanks. That was very opportune. It was in the next one in order.
Yes.
This is called For 8 Cents a Pound. Fog-bound, off some raging Nova Scotia inlet, we raise a lonely, pitching St. Pierre dory. Land has no meaning, no direction, no distance. 60 unsafe fathoms above the deep bottom, his hands chafed raw through worn working gloves. One man is cod fishing with salt, stiff hand lines, 1,000 yards long, for 8 cents a pound. He rows between rocks to the processing ship, hidden in miasmic fog. His dory is cod-filled, gunnel down and sated. Some men say the fishermen are lazy in the Canadian Maritimes and like to stay home on the dole rather than fish in wave-swept fog, hand-lining for cod in that dreadful, damp, roar-in-your-bones fog for 8 cents a pound.
Do they actually still have cod? I understood the fish to be endangered.
That's why they hand-line them. They go offshore in a 27-foot 27-foot long boat and fill it up to here, and then find a mothership to sell it for 7.5 cents a pound.
All right. Are there any more fish stories?
Are there any more fish stories? Well, yeah, this one is pretty good. It's also from one of the upcoming books. It's in a different vein, but it's about the water. It's called From My Raft. From my raft, I see only my river and the trees along its banks. But I hear laughter and shouting from beyond my view. By the splashing sounds of water and the squeal of hauling halyards, I know another river lies near, a road river that stays beyond my sight, like a lip-soft lullaby girl from my youth who teases me with humbling, savage kisses, but saves her best for my brothers.
I had a very pointed question, but I've completely forgotten what it was because I've been so taken with the material. Oh, I remember now. I wanted to ask you about your work habits in writing. Do you lock yourself up in a garret?
No, I live in a small apartment, and I work round the clock, which means that I sleep a few hours and work a few hours, and whenever the voice comes and says, "Hey, get up and do it," that's what I do.
So you hear voices.
Yes.
Okay. Well, many of us do.
Insistent voices.
Many of us do. Mine are bill collectors mainly, but that's
No.
but that's another story altogether. Do the voices give you specific subjects, or do you find your own?
Usually, I give them subjects. In other words, I'm thinking about something, and I go to sleep, and I wake up, and there's something about that subject to put down.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be anything.
Let's see. I think you're preparing to give us a cornucopia here.
Yeah. I also enjoy writing haiku. These are 3 that have been published, and I just call them 1, 2, and 3. Number 1. Stand in autumn fog. Snorting betrays their presence. Cattle are hiding. The second one. A prelude to birth. Sitting stiff as piety. Winter birds singing. And the last one. Lovers pair in parks with foolish fears of failure where snow is weeping.
I'm all in favor of weeping snow.
Yeah.
Because snow has annoyed me, and many times brought me to tears a number of times. You've written a lot of forms in your time.
I try. I've written rhyme and meter and haiku.
Do you prefer form, or do you like freewheeling?
It's just the way it comes out. Some of each.
Okay. And what is this one now?
This is called Illegals. Run fast and low. Don't get caught. Hide the money. Never mind the dog. He won't bite. Where's the car? I need a flashlight. You lost the keys, then jump-start it. We've got to hide. Stay low for a day and cross at Juarez. Under the noses of the border cops on their brakes, they drink beer from the trunk of their patrol car. I will always wonder what Juan would have said if he had made it.
And did you ever get an answer to that one?
No, I have not.
All right. What's this one?
This is more ships. This is in Asia, and I think it's self-explanatory, except that one should know that the river Ganges is a holy river, and people think if you put candles floating down it, that they're for the souls of the departed. So this is called Drifting Candle-Lit Ships. I add my humble craft to the candle-lit small vessels drifting down river to the sea. I mend some sinking craft that are damaged and would not finish the journey without repair. Pilgrims on the shore praise my selfless deeds. Soon the monsoon will stop this annual ceremony, when life can be reborn on a journey of hope to waters bounded by man's realm of reason. The ever-flowing river has universal acceptance, aware that life must endure pain as well as joy. Despair becomes a balm in billowing streams, a wetting poultice on the domain of suffering.
I understand that the Potomac, we're not too far away from it, is also something of a holy river. I've heard cases of senators skinny dipping and then their careers vanish in a puff of smoke, which is as good a miracle as I've ever come across. How about giving us another miracle?
Okay. This is about buffalo herds. There used to be lots of them. There's still some, but not like in the old days. Look away to the past. Hear the thunderous roar. Feel the earth tremble and rumble as the buffalo herds approach. Stand with me all earth-shaking day, from dawn through dust, darkening dusk, while mighty, majestic herds make thunder, and still the earth resounds. Multitudes migrate wherever they will, masses of majesty from beyond, as Buffalo always have done, to the glory of Americana. Spirit eagle of the Sioux, forgive. Little feather of the Cree, recall. Running fox of the Pawnee, hunt. Dull knife of the Cheyenne, bless. These legends will feast no more, nor winter under buffalo hides, never more walk their fathers' holy hills, nor drink their native singing streams. The great herds are no more. Once part of our history, our native song, the great herds are no more. The makers of tremble and thunder are gone. The earth does not tremble from sunrise to sunset. Gone is the majesty, gone the resounding roar. Look away with me, feel the tremble, hear the thunder, stand silent with me, all earth-shaking day.
We will do that. I urge everybody to stampede over to hear Howard Prescott wherever he may be reading and get his books. We can get that one little one in.
Oh, memory stones?
Yes, yes.
Memory stones. I set free the memory stones from my childhood collection, but none left willingly. They sulked and pouted and moped around miserably until I gave them a pension and group medical insurance. Then they moved to Florida and mingled with new neighbors who could dance mambo and had settled in pastel condos.
I want to thank you, Howard Prescott, for everything that you've done, not only for poetry, but for us. We are proud to be associated with you. And we're proud to bring him to you. So tune in again next week when we'll have more exciting poetry on Poet to Poet.